Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We're talking about WWE's WrestleMania 35. This will be the third day of videos to talk about all of the matches at WrestleMania 35, unless they are just past the point of useless. This is the last video, which is going to be about the main event. Of course, this is going to be Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey putting their championships on the line against Becky Lynch in the winner-take-all first ever women's main event of WrestleMania that's going to be taking place at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey at WrestleMania 35. This is going to be one that honestly is going to be remembered for a long time, and not just because of the fact that it is a women's match headlining WrestleMania. I think this really does have sort of instant classic written all over it. Last year, of course, when Charlotte upset Asuka, the direct rumors went right to Ronda Rousey main eventing WrestleMania 35. One of the reasons why Asuka would lose that winning streak at WrestleMania 34 was so Charlotte could stay hot. I'm not sure if Charlotte is undefeated at WrestleMania or not. I think that she was in like a SmackDown women's match the year before, and I don't think she won. But then again, they might just bring up the fact that she didn't lose, because I think it was like a six-pack challenge or something like that. But a lot of people drew the lines of Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey. That's exactly the match that I thought that we were going to get. But instead, Becky Lynch, who was involved in the pre-show, I believe I picked her to win the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal, but she ended up not winning it, and instead it went to Naomi. But Becky Lynch, in all sense of the words, clawed her way to becoming one of the most over superstars, men or women, in the entire company. Of course, this week we had the story come out that at one point WWE didn't really know what to do with Becky Lynch when she was in NXT, and before she started to have her rise on TV and the roster, she almost was released. I know that you can say this with a lot of wrestlers. I know that at one point there was make or break for John Cena, where the company basically was ready to sever ties with him, and within the matter of no time, the guy was main eventing SmackDown, going on, winning the championship at WrestleMania 21, and then jumping over and becoming the face of the company on Monday Night Raw. So, who's to say what a couple of months would have been? But John Cena, maybe if he never did that Vanilla Ice thing, who knows what would have been. Becky Lynch, I don't really know what it was, because honestly, I thought that she was getting really hot around the time of Survivor Series, when they were heating her up for the match against Ronda Rousey, because of course they were doing the Raw champion versus the SmackDown champion, and I really was surprised how over she was when SmackDown invaded Monday Night Raw, which of course led to her getting punched by Nia Jax, which of course broke her nose. And I thought right there, when her face exploded, that it was done for her, because the rumors was that Becky would get her shot against Ronda Rousey at the Royal Rumble in Phoenix, and I was like, that's 2 months from now, and there's no way in the world that she's still going to be that hot that people are going to care to see Ronda Rousey against Becky Lynch then, especially after getting punched in the nose by Nia Jax. People are going to want to see Nia versus Becky first. So we'll have to see, what, they're able to do to get her there. But, she ended up having a match at the Rumble, not against Ronda, but against Asuka. She lost that match. Well, before that, she even had a chance to win the SmackDown Championship in a TLC match, and she lost that match too. So to get her to that point of being, so over, she was losing matches, which was really surprising. But then she snuck in Lana's injury. She snuck into the Royal Rumble and was able to actually be the one who win it. So as far as I can think, she's the first winner of the Royal Rumble that wasn't even announced to be a part of it. And That's really, really surprising. Last night's edition of WWE's Monday Night Raw, to me, was way over the top. It was a really, really fun time to see them take on the Riot Squad, and then basically everything just break apart and fall into pieces as they're getting arrested and as they're brought backstage, where normally the confrontation ends. Even with everybody in handcuffs, everything just went into the Schitt's Creek. With Becky and Ronda fighting in the back of a cop car to the point where they broke out a window, which led to them taking Becky Lynch out of the car, which led to Charlotte and Becky fighting, with Ronda trying to get out of the cop car through the window so she can get involved in the fight. Charlotte, leapt on over and kneed her in the head. I'll be thinking about Ronda Rousey's head bouncing off the side of that car, and I can tell you honestly, I haven't sat down at my computer and looked at any wrestling sheets today, but I have my fingers crossed, hoping that Ronda Rousey didn't come down with some sort of concussion, which is going to keep her. That was the first thought I had, was just seeing her head bump off of the side of that car. Was that had to hurt. And, with her hands handcuffed behind her back, that she wasn't really able to, guide her head any way to sort of support it, to take that hit any better than it did. So, you think about everything that's being said about, what's going to happen after WrestleMania. A lot of people think that Rousey's going to be taking a break. She's been hitting it pretty hard in the last year with the WWE roster. I honestly don't know if she does house shows or doesn't do house shows, but she's been pretty active on Monday Night Raw. So you got to know that she's probably working a lot more than a lot of other I don't want to call them those celebrity drop-in stars, because that was one of the things she said that she wanted when she joined the roster. She wanted to be paid just like everybody else. She didn't want any special travel. She didn't want anything better in her deal than any other wrestler that was on the roster, because she didn't want to alienate herself from the other wrestlers that were in there, because she wanted to be able to fall back on them for help, because she was coming into a sport that she was a fan of and she's loved her whole life. But she doesn't have a background in this like she does in UFC, and everybody knows the stories of people coming into a new locker room in WWE, and thinking they're a bigger star than they are, and alienating themselves and really not getting any help in their matches from the guys, from the wrestlers that are on the roster. So I guess all fingers point to her dropping the championships. It would be surprising to me if Becky Lynch, and I'm a Charlotte girl. Oh, I guess I'm a Charlotte guy. My bad. Oh, jeez. Well, nobody's going to watch this anyways. But, I've always been a fan of Charlotte. I've always supported her and thought that she was great. But there's no doubt, saying how over Ronda Rousey is, as well as Becky Lynch. But I think that Becky is going to be the one who's going to be getting the victory here. And with the winner take all, I guess you can say, stipulation that Stephanie McMahon added, I don't really know what that brings. A lot of people are saying that basically they're going to put the championships together. Maybe they're going to, maybe strip her one of the titles, or maybe even have her lose one of the championships. But a lot of this draws to what they're going to be doing as they come up close on the TV deal, which of course I think is in October when SmackDown goes to Fox. I think it would be really smart of them to keep the brand split, but a lot of people are thinking that they're going to be keeping Monday Night Raw and SmackDown on the same roster. To me, that means that they honestly have twice as many wrestlers that they really need, or they're just going to continue to go back to the old way of house shows where they had an A show and they had a B show, and they'll be able to keep those ones. But that means you're going to house shows and you're seeing wrestlers that you know work for WWE because you've seen them at times, but they're not going to be guys that are appearing on television. So they're not going to be really over, I guess you can say. But I'm picking Becky to get the win. I think this is going to be a great WrestleMania, guys. I just think that there's a lot of matches that don't really have a lot of steam building up to them. And to be sitting in front of your TV watching WrestleMania 35 like I am, which is basically like a 13-hour show involving the pre-show. I think it's honestly going to be 7. 7 plus, I guess you can say. Not quite 8, but I think that's in the area it's going to be. I just am hoping that I can pick and choose a good match, or maybe even 2 matches. I can take a nap during and just sort of separate myself from thinking that I'm working a second job that day. Peace out, everybody. It's going to be a good one. WrestleMania 35.